2015 elections may have come and gone, but then there have been reactions and counter-reactions, and that is why we're not done with that election yet. We would also be talking about the participation of women in politics. Of course, if we don't talk about that, what else are we going to be talking about on women in politics? And of course, the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. And so we're here with FATEEMA Mohammed, a stalwart in the People's Democratic Party. I am Ebulomo Adekunle, your host. It's good to have you on the program, Women in Politics.
Thank you very much, Ewalomo.
And let's go quickly to the just concluded elections. How would you describe the electoral process?
Really and truly, it wasn't particularly a free and fair election.
Really?
It wasn't free and fair. We had a lot of anomalies, abnormalities. We had a lot of, cases where it's really saddening and heart-rending, to find out that at this particular time in our nascent democracy, we could still be going through, processes of a lot of abnormalities politically. So for me, it wasn't particularly a free and fair election.
Maybe you'd have to give us insights into those situations that made you say not free and fair.
Yes, you see, at all stratas, I would start with the presidential elections. There were anomalies. There were some places where the INEC officials didn't come on time. Some places where they came and where the card reader started reading from 150 from 200. The card reader usually is meant to read 000. And then we got to some polling booths, it was reading 180, it was reading 200. It's so sad, and without starting accreditation. We got to some places where they already made up their minds how many people they wanted to accredit, and then they will say, oh, because it has passed the time of accreditation. Despite the fact that they were already on the queue, they will stop, the accreditation, and then start to vote. Even when people are on the queue to vote, they'll say, oh, it's past 5 p.m., and then they cut them off. So it wasn't particularly, they weren't organized. Some places they didn't come on time. Some places they had to do it manually. It was not, we had a lot of abnormalities. And then they tried to correct it with the gubernatorial elections. And in the process of trying to correct it, the blunders for the gubernatorial elections were worse. I make bold to say that a lot of Lagosians voted for Jimmy Agbaje.
Really?
Oh, yes. And for me, Jimmy Agbaje remains my governor for life. Because whether the electoral process is decides to go, the other way, and you look at, I was not basically on the field, but I was in the situation room. And so we already had our collations done. We had places where the number of votes outdid the accredited voters, and you're wondering. For example, on Channels TV this morning, I don't know if you watched, Moyosore Ogunlewe was on the program, and then he was talking about his elections. He was vied for the post of House of Assembly, Koshofe constituency. And right in their ballot papers, among the ballot papers that were being counted, the votes counted that day, they found some from Amu Wardofin. And so I'm wondering how that happened. How you're counting votes for Koshofe local government, you're counting, and then you have votes, ballot papers from Amu Wardofin. It's funny. We have video footages. Thank God that the world has gone viral. There are a lot of evidences. And that's why you look at Lagos as a whole now. We're not particularly in a joyful mood. It's not, the ambience is so calm, and like you see something, some people are not particularly happy because they knew who they voted for. And they are saying, well, it is apparent now that our votes don't count. Some people would sit somewhere. For example, Koshofe is such a tiny local government. Some results didn't come in. They said the Kujore result, for example, didn't come in until 5 a.m. And I'm wondering, just one word, did they have to take 24 hours for that result to have been brought forward? I'm from Alimosho. I can talk about Alimosho on end. There were a lot of abnormalities. Some results didn't come in till about 6 a.m., till about 10 a.m. That's why you found out that Lagos gubernatorial elections, the results were not announced until 9 p.m., 10 p.m. the next day. Because they couldn't, and then you had a lot of figures. They started sending out results before time. The APC would send out results, and they would calculate and say, they have won with 20,000. Too many disparities. It is sad.
So you saw many of these
anomalies. A lot of it. A lot of evidences.
about that?
Well, the party has gone to court. The party has filed. The party has filed. And again, I'm saying that I am glad to be associated with the person of Mr. Agbaje because he's a good sportsman. You know, he's spoken like somebody whose interests is not particularly about governing the state. It's about ensuring that we have doable and achievable democracy to the electorates. That was saying, and then we keep saying, oh, Lagos is working. I'm sorry, I'm not condemning the government because I have been part of them. I started out, you know, my political career with the Alliance for Democracy. And I say it anyway, I make bold to say, oh, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is my father. But you know, in the course of life, in the events of life, you grow, and then you begin to meet people. You begin to meet people, and some people will have ideologies that you want to associate with. And that's how I met, you know, Mr. Jimmy Agbaje, and he's affected me politically. He's changed my political mindset. He's taught me that you have to ensure that poverty is palliative. You have to put palliative measures in place. Someone was asking me yesterday over the phone, I had an interview, and he said, Jimmy Agbaje didn't do it right. Why should Jimmy Agbaje say you should stop the people hawking on the bridges? And I said, Jimmy Agbaje never said I would return the people who would hawk on the bridge. No, Jimmy Agbaje has said you take these people away from the bridges where they earn their livelihood, and you don't give them a palliative measure. You tell them to go to Tejo ultra-modern market that is 5 million naira for a woman who is barely living on less than $1 per day. How does she get to cross the first rung of the ladder of development? How? How? So when you take Okada riders off the road, please give them a palliative measure to cushion the effects of the poverty. That's what we're saying. We're not saying Okadas come back to the road because you find that they have their excesses too. But when you stop somebody from the person's means of livelihood, why don't you give them a supplement? You take away the Okadas, look for something to give them. Don't give them cars that are 2, 3, 4, 5 million that they have to pay instrumentally. When would they finish paying? For me, that governance isn't doable or achievable to the common man. It is not.
Okay, let's talk about the presidential election. You feel that was rigged?
Oh, it was rigged. We have photographs of the electorates in Kano. We have kids of 9 years old, 10 years old, some printing, and you know,
but what
it's
about
funny.
The situation in Rivers State, in the south, where we had lots of violence and all of that, and the APC also accused the PDP of rigging?
Thank you very much. We look at the percentage of the places where it was rigged and the places where the fault. Rivers State, for example, I'll take Rivers. Rivers is a place where you have a lot of militants there. Militants, and if Rivers was Lagos, for example, we would have had riots every day in Lagos. People in the Niger Delta know what they want. They are in the minority, no doubt, but they know what they want. And so when they see signs of you trying to rip them off what they want, they get aggressive and they get defensive. That doesn't happen in Lagos. I am not saying that in Rivers there were no abnormalities. Of course there were abnormalities. But in Rivers we didn't have people who were 9 years old, 10 years old, thumb printing. We didn't have underage thumb printing. There could have been irregularities. I'm not going to deny that. I won't live in denial. Electoral processes, you would find irregularities. But I'm saying that you find a man like the president, Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan. Every time I talk about him, I put a smile on my face. The reason is, we have said, he has failed, he has done. People have castigated him. People have rubbished him. Not a problem. We are going to have a new government in place. There's a Yoruba adage that says that except a woman has gone through 2 marriages, then she doesn't know which one is better. Ebele Jonathan is somebody who allows you to express yourself. He had the power of incumbency. He just said to himself, he didn't want the prophecy that the Americans and every other people have said about Nigeria to happen. Nigeria going to break up. He didn't want that. For him, it wasn't about governance for him by force. That I want to serve. That's why he considered defeat even before Buhari was declared. And he's my hero. I am so proud of him. And I'm proud of the PDP.
What do you say about the recent sacking of the Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba? Some have said probably because he did not dance to the tune of the president during the elections.
That's really funny. For me, the president has powers to hire and fire. He hired him in the first place.
But isn't that so sudden?
It is not sudden. You see, that's why I say for the person of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, he's not an irrational person. It takes his time. You look at the case of the Minister of Aviation, for example. He eventually laid her off, but he took his time. He would take his time, he would do his findings, and he would be sure before he nails you to the cross. That's why we say, oh, he's slow. He's not a slow person particularly. He's just somebody who loves equity. He would ensure that, oh, the reasons for my action, no other person would have taken the steps that Goodluck Ebele Jonathan took. But he calculated it. He said, you know what? I do not want mayhem to break out in Nigeria. Let me concede defeat. Let me congratulate him, even if the margin was so small. Even if I could have made up the margin, he was still president. He didn't use his powers. So that's the person of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. I do not have an idea why the Inspector General of Police was sacked, but I want to say categorically that I'm sure he had his reasons. He hired him in the first place. He can fire him.
Okay. As time unfolds, we know the real reason behind that.
Definitely.
Many have said the just concluded elections were relatively peaceful, but then for some others, that won't exactly be the description for that election, and you happen to be one of them. Let's talk about your ordeal before the election.
Ooh, thank you very much, Ewalomo. Just some 10 days before the general election, for the presidential elections, on the 16th of April precisely, the Oduas People Congress had a protest march. They were protesting the office. They wanted Jega to get out of office. They felt he had compromised. And then they were clamoring support. It was like a support rally for Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So, you know, ordinarily, I am a stalwart, a PDP stalwart. So I was in that campaign train. We went in the campaign train, I came. So immediately we left the presidential campaign train, I went on the campaign of the senatorial candidates for the Lagos West. That's the person of Segun Adewale Eroland. And about 10-15 minutes after I got on the train, I was on the TAN truck. We were talking, he came down from the truck. He went to give, you know, them campaign materials. And then the shot came. It was so sudden, it was, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It just, I didn't even know I was the one who was shot. I heard the blast. The blast almost blew my ears off. And I saw blood everywhere, and I was looking what happened. And I started going down. I looked at my arm. It was ripped apart. And, you know, found out I had over 70 pellets in the arm, and that's what happened. This it happened in Mushin, Idioro.
Then you've been in the hospital?
Oh yes, I was in the hospital for a while. And, you know, after I had the major surgery, you know, to get some of the pellets out, you would still see, I still have pellets in my hand. I still have over 20, 30. They would not, you know, they couldn't take it all off once. So I would, you know, it's a continuous process for me.
And what did that do to you as a woman in politics? Because for me, when you sent that picture, I was scared. What did it do to you as a person in politics? Do you really want to continue in politics?
Oh yes. You see, every job has its ills. You find somebody who works in MTN, they have their own, you know, ills. Every job has its ills. It has, it's a total thing. You just look at it and say, well, for me, it's a passion. I love to palliate people's pains. I love to emancipate people. And that's when they talk, I am a feminist. I clamor for gender equality, gender equity, sorry, because equality means, for me, seems like some form of emancipating yourself from the male gaze. No, equity. I just want to be on the same page with you. I see you as my head. You are the man, you are the leader, you are the head, but I want to be on the same page with you. I have a passion to put smile on people's faces, and that's what gave birth to the Jimmy Agbaje outreach in 2008. You know, I am the initiator coordinator of the Jimmy Agbaje outreach. You know, it's a passion. Politics is a passion, and ripping my hand off is not enough reason for me to stop. Until I see that the people who I am fighting for, who I'm clamoring for, can get to the first rung of the ladder of development, then I can retire. Then I would feel fulfilled.
But let's talk about the participation of women in politics. Would you advise a woman to go into politics, given the ills that there? Of course, you have said that every
profession, every career has its ills.
But let's talk about a man can still
move himself easily. But let us talk about a woman who has a home, who has children. At least if you're not thinking of yourself, you're thinking of your children in the house. What happened if there were children in your case and you had to spend so much time in the hospital?
Well, I have kids. Fortunately, my last kid is 13, so she's a teenager. Well, I had spent, if you were kids, we have female pilots, don't we? They won't think of the risk. They will get on the plane. They will fly the plane. There's a plane crash. They've got families. Anything could have happened. Like the Ebola cases, for example, when it happened, we had female doctors. They had families. They didn't think of the hills. For them, it was the passion for their profession. They went ahead. So like I have said, every career, a woman who has a drive to serve. You see, a lot of people keep getting it twisted. They think well, politics is about going to embezzle public funds. No. Politics is about being a servant. You must be willing to serve. And that part I learned from Mr. Agbaje. Jimmy Agbaje serves. And he tells us the way up is down. Take people to the first rung of the ladder of development. And then you feel good.
When I ask you about politics, you compare it to other professions.
Yes.
Is politics a profession?
Oh, politics is a profession. It's a profession that is never ending.
So you can actually quit other career and say, I'm into politics fully.
Yes, I can, because it's only politics that gives you the opportunity to reach out to people in the local government, to reach out to people in the wards. If what you want to do is to serve, you want to touch the electorate. The electorates and the downtrodden will not be seen if I was a medical doctor, for example. Oh yes, sometimes I'm doing missions and they take me to Sierra Leone. I will not be able to reach the grassroots. Only politics gives you an opportunity to reach the grassroots. So it's something that it's a job for people who have a passion. You look at the person of Segun Eroland, for example. Segun Adewale has never held a political position in Nigeria. But Segun Adewale has starred more streets. There are more senators, there are more governors in Lagos. You go to the Lagos West, and that's why he's been crying. And I am glad I am from the Lagos West. We have the largest local governments in the Lagos West. We have the largest land space. Lagos, if we say Lagos is 100%, Lagos West in itself has 64%. And so I'm saying, you look at the development in Lagos. Take Bodilon, for example. Take Ikoyi. Take Ileki. And then go to Amu Wardofin. When we were doing campaigns, I went to Ajeromi Feludo and I was in tears because I didn't believe I was in Lagos. I thought I was in Rwanda. The population and the level of poverty made me cry. No infrastructural development whatsoever. And you tell me Lagos is working? You see, biscuits, we're giving them biscuits. And Indomie, they were dying to have one. And I turn, I say, are we in Lagos? You go to Amikonle, a suburb. You go to Ishefon, another suburb. I went to Amu Wardofin. I went to the riverine areas. And I was in tears. No development. There are some places in Okwebi, just behind, what's that, Adebola House. Girls get raped there every day. I can show you photographs. People sleep on leaves. When we went there, they said, oh, don't step on this leaf. Oh, that's our bed at night. And they are Lagosians. And Lagos is working. And we have a government in place for 16 years. It's disheartening.
Let's get back to you as a person. How did you enter into politics?
Whoa. I got into politics as, I think it was very close to my mom's house. I just used to drive past and I would see some people sitting down. And there was this particular incident that, made me, and you find women wanting to raise their hand. When they are doing political meetings, they tell women to sit behind. The men will sit in front. Like I've told you, I said I'm a gender biased person. And the women will raise up and I said, keep quiet first, let the men talk now. The men will have more opinions than you. And so I stopped one day and I joined the meeting and I sat behind. So the next time I went to the meeting, I sat in front. And they said, no, where did you come from? You sit at the back. And I said, no. All of you here are not as educated as I am, so why should I sit at the back? You cannot lend your voices. I can lend my voice. I can face anyone. I can talk. I can look you in the eyes and tell you when you're going wrong. I said, so why should I sit at the back? I said, besides what you're doing, this is what you get. These roads have been here. The road leading to my mother's house, that's Ekoro Road. Ekoro Road was untouched for several years. In fact, sometimes when you want to come into Ekoro Road, there is a bridge. So the Okada will drop you in a particular place. You go through the flood in the bridge before you go. And I said, people are just sitting here, you're doing meetings every time. Like you're bound in poverty. And you have a government in place, you can't talk. And so I started the revolution to talk. I said, we would work for you, this government, if you want to come and campaign again. This was Ashwaji coming back in 2003. We would work for you, but you have to promise us electoral promises that you will tar this road because we deserve to enjoy infrastructural benefits. I said, and that got them, happy that somebody is speaking, and that changed the perspective. And today, you have a lot of women from Alimosho who can raise up their head. You have the Mrs. Undeins and all of them. I can say, nope, this is what we want it to be. This is how we want it to look. This is what we would do, and all of that. So,
have you found it easy with the male folk?
Oh,
your kind of person?
It's been really difficult. But again, I thank God for the likes of Mr. Agbaji. I keep mentioning him because I tell people all the time, I said he's my hero. He's mentored me. I am his protege. Jimmy says, be fearless. Say it the way it is. He doesn't care whose horse is God. It's not working. Let them know that it is not working. We went to some place today and my son was saying to me, he said, Mom, this is Agegio. Can you imagine? All the roads are not done. And they've been in government for 16 years. And they're coming back again. I said, well, I wouldn't say Lagosians got what they deserve. I would say Lagosians were robbed because they were tired. They wanted a change. But they were shortchanged, they were robbed. So they would live with being robbed. But I know that I give it to General Muhammadu Buhari. He's a forthright man. And that's why I look at people surrounding him who think, oh, we helped him get into power, so we would dance to our whims and caprice. Hell no, that won't happen. So I see him bringing justice to place.
Let's move away from politics now and talk about the attacks in South Africa, the xenophobic attacks. And Nigerians are beginning to react to that by asking the South African companies in Nigeria to pack their things if the South African government does not do something about it. Do you think that's the right step in the right direction?
Not particularly, because if you look at the South African companies, the MTN, for example, they have a lot of Nigerians working for them. In fact, I think the larger percentage of their workforce are Nigerians. You look at ShopRite, you don't find South Africans working. You find a lot of Nigerians. So for me, that's not the way to go about it. But the xenophobic attack is pathetic. This wasn't what Madiba suffered to bequeath to Africans. It wasn't what he suffered for. He suffered for the emancipation of the black race. So it's disheartening that they have thrown all the legacies that he bequeathed them away, and they're beginning to fight themselves. It is, I think they need to get people to change their orientation. I was reading something one of their ministers said, and I said this, she still has a slavery mentality. It's so sad that someone with that mentality can be made a minister. She said the Nigerians too, the foreigners too, should teach the South Africans how to make money. And I am wondering, it's disheartening that, so when you have people like that as ministers with that mentality, you're not particularly sure which people she's talking to and telling them what to do. So when you have people telling you, oh, this is what you will do, you have to fight for your right, it's your land, then you begin to get out of the box and misbehave and do things you shouldn't do. Shutting down the companies here would not help. Is to ensure that we keep lending our voice, we keep ensuring that Nigerian government should do the needful to rescue our people who are in danger. And I hear it's not so bad. I hear it's not like they are painting it. It is bad, but it's not like, oh, they are killing every foreigner they see on the road, or they go into their homes and kills them and all of that. No, I hear it's not bad. So I think it can be managed and rectified rather than shut down their companies here. No, that would affect us. It would affect us.
Before we go, we want to know how well you're doing. How's the hand? How painful is it?
Oh, it's really painful. Really, really painful.
It now?
Not exactly, because I think I had a damage to my radial nerve, so I can't do more than this.
More than this.
Yes, I can't use it to do anything.
What's the doctor's report? Is it going to be active when it's healed?
Oh yes, they are saying that because we had a lot of damages to the nerves and all of that, it's going to be a gradual process. So, you know, I just had a major surgery. We're waiting for the surgery to heal. Some pellets had removed. We still have some pellets here. If you count, you can touch. All these are pellets. All these are pellets.
The way I'm touching, is it painful?
Yeah, because, you know, it's bullets.
Okay, I just thought this would not scare some females like me. I can't be a gunshot.
Well,
It's close to you. I can't imagine such level of violence, and you ask me to go into politics?
oh yes.
With journalism.
No, I ask you to go into politics if it's a passion for you. If your passion is to help the downtrodden, that's the only way to go about it. And so I do not want my gunshot ordeal to scare women away. Women must rise. We are mothers of the nation. Only us know how it hurts to have a child who hasn't fed. Only us know how we rush back home from work, you know, and try and put a balance, put food on the table and all of that. So it is time to rise up, Nigerian women. Come into politics. Come and salvage the situation right now. There's this milk of kindness that flows out from the women. So we can do better than you have some women who have done so well, who we are so proud of, who we can turn back and say, oof, they have really done well. They have done us proud, you know. So I cannot forget people like Nana D. Nana D has really done well. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Okonjo-Iweala isn't doing badly at all. You have the Ezekwesilis and all of them. Women, you have the Dora Akunyili. She dared, you know, where men would fare. She dared to say, I'm going to stop this. And she went to, you know, all the way to do it.
And that's it on the program for today. You just met with FATEEMA Mohammed. In case you've not met with her in person, a very bold woman and eloquent. And that's an encouragement to you women out there listening to us now. You have the passion to help people, then go right ahead. Let nothing stop you. Until next week when we do this again, I am Ebolomo Adekule. Bye.